Charles Leclerc has just made a surprising statement about Lewis Hamilton's driving style, and what he said goes far beyond anything one might expect to hear from someone inside Ferrari. In a rare moment of honesty, Leclerc confirmed something that had long been suspected behind the scenes, but which no one within the team had dared to say out loud. Hamilton's natural instincts behind the wheel appear to be fundamentally at odds with the core characteristics of Ferrari's current car. With the Miami Grand Prix just around the corner, this revelation not only raises questions but also fuels potential tension within one of the most talked-about driver pairings in recent Formula One history. This is not simply one driver commenting on another, but rather the person who knows this car inside and out, explaining why Hamilton's style might be holding him back. Before we dive into the details of what was said, what it really means, and how it could shift the balance of power within the Italian team, go ahead and like the video, subscribe to the channel, and stay with us until the end, because what Leclerc just revealed might either unlock Ferrari's hidden potential or spark a much deeper internal conflict. Let's begin with the facts. So far this season, Lewis Hamilton has not managed to outperform Charles Leclerc in qualifying or in race sessions. That alone is worth noting. The only exception was the sprint race in Shanghai, where Hamilton shone by finding the perfect car setup, taking pole position, and converting it into a win. But on traditional race weekends, his performance has lagged behind, sometimes by a wide margin. In Saudi Arabia, for instance, he finished more than 30 seconds behind Leclerc. That's not bad luck. That's a clear sign of a mismatch between driver and machine. According to Leclerc, though, it is not simply a matter of Hamilton needing more time. It is not about spending more hours in the simulator or learning how things work at Ferrari. The issue runs much deeper and strikes at the heart of who Hamilton is as a driver. It is his driving style. What once made him a legend now seems incompatible with the SF25. Leclerc said, quote, "It is always a challenge when you join a new team. Everything is new, from the car to the systems and the working culture. But Lewis has already been pushing against how we do things here for many years now," end quote. That statement alone speaks volume. It shows that Hamilton's approach, both behind the wheel and in his technical feedback, has been so impactful that it is forcing Ferrari to question its own foundation. And that kind of influence only comes from someone with the credentials, the intellect, and the authority to drive real change. Hamilton is not simply struggling, he is pushing Ferrari to evolve. Now let's get to the technical core of the issue. Hamilton has always relied on late braking, sharp rotation at the apex, and managing traction from the rear to exit the corner. It is an aggressive, instinctive, and often successful approach when the car allows it, but the SF25 does not. It demands early stability, smooth inputs, and a more controlled, reactive cornering phase. This car was developed in line with Ferrari's philosophy over several seasons, and when Hamilton applies his natural instincts to it, the car reacts poorly. It becomes unstable and inconsistent. Instead of trusting the machine, Hamilton starts doubting everything: his setup, his inputs, even his own reflexes. And that is exactly what has been happening. He has repeatedly said the car feels odd, that there is no fix, and that it is painful to drive. Now we know why. Hamilton is not broken. The car simply was not designed with him in mind. But here is the twist. Leclerc is not ignoring this issue to maintain a personal advantage. On the contrary, he is acknowledging the value of Hamilton's perspective. He said he has already learned a lot from Lewis, and that his presence on the team has challenged everything they have been doing for years. That level of openness from Leclerc reveals something rare in Formula One: a mutual respect that could become a revolutionary alliance. Internally, this dynamic is transforming Ferrari. The engineers are now forced to compare two completely different driving philosophies. That kind of internal pressure could create chaos, but it also opens the door to breakthroughs. When contrasting philosophies collide, weaknesses are often exposed, but so are new paths forward. Looking ahead to Miami, another sprint weekend, the timing could not be more critical. The sprint format rewards drivers who can dial in their setup with minimal preparation. And in China, Hamilton showed he can still do exactly that. Leclerc even admitted that Hamilton started that weekend with a perfectly balanced car, while others were still struggling. That is not luck. That is experience. That is talent. That is Hamilton. But the big question is, can that be repeated? Will Ferrari be able to provide Hamilton with a car that suits him even halfway? Or will they continue down a path that only fits Leclerc's style? Because if they fail to adapt, they risk wasting one of the greatest drivers in history and missing a golden opportunity to challenge McLaren and Red Bull. Let's be clear, the pressure is mounting. Ferrari sits in 4th place in the constructors' standings, trailing McLaren by 110 points. That is unacceptable for a team that promised to fight for the title this year. And in a sport where timing is everything, Miami could either be the spark or the breaking point. So what comes next? Will Hamilton start unlearning the instincts that brought him 7 world titles? Will he gradually abandon years of driving habits in order to become a completely different driver behind the wheel of a car that resists his natural style? Or will Ferrari take the bolder route, one that few top teams dare to pursue mid-season, and begin reshaping the SF25 to meet the needs of a driver who sees racing through a very different lens? Because this is the reality. We are not just witnessing a driver trying to adapt. We are watching a team grappling with growth, caught between evolution and its own identity. Ferrari now must decide whether to continue down a path shaped by years of internal development with Leclerc at the center, or to embrace the inevitable disruption that Hamilton brings. And perhaps, just perhaps, this is not a dilemma at all, but a rare opportunity. If Ferrari can find that delicate balance, blending Hamilton's need for rear-end confidence and late-braking precision with the SF25's requirement for front-end control and setup sensitivity, they could create a machine more versatile, more dangerous, and more complete than anything they have put on the track in recent years. This is no longer just about performance, it is about potential, and the team that unlocks that potential first may redefine the championship fight. But there is a risk. If they misstep, they will not only waste Hamilton's talent, they may also unravel the entire structure of the team, the harmony, the direction, the momentum built so far. All of it could hang by a thread. So the issue goes beyond Miami. It is about the months ahead. Will this be remembered as the moment Ferrari found its true path? Or will it mark the beginning of a fracture too deep to mend? Let us know in the comments. Do you think Leclerc was merely pointing out something already known? Or did he just expose the turning point of one of the most ambitious driver-team partnerships in modern Formula One? Are we witnessing the birth of a transformation, or the first cracks of an internal collapse? Leave a like, subscribe if you have not already, and get ready, because if the numbers hold true, if the pressure is real, and if the Miami Grand Prix plays out the way it might, what happens next may not just define Hamilton's legacy at Ferrari. It could shift the entire course of the 2025 season.